Hey, Xiomy here. So today I wanted to do my July wrap-up. Now, like I mentioned in my previous video, I'm going to be separating these two just because I know I'm going to over-elaborate about these books because that's something that I've noticed that I've been tending to do as of late. Just give you too much details about my feelings. But, that's how it is here, If we fangirl, we need to fangirl hard. But I have some books that I reread throughout the month and I'm going to be getting into those a little bit. Some I heard in audiobooks. But without further ado, let me just tell you the books that I read for the month of July. If you did watch my previous video, my June wrap-up, you noticed that I was like an Avatar The Last Airbender kick throughout the entire month. Well, I decided to continue in this one. Not too much, but like a little bit. I managed to pick up the Rift books 1, 2, and 3. Now, even though the first one had a weak start to it, I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. The other two, I gave 4 out of 5 stars. The second one was good, and the third one wrapped up really well. Overall, these are entertaining, and I do love these characters and everything that they're thrusted into. And I have to admit that it's just, the artwork is just something that's really captivating and just wants me to continue, reading these books, even though I may have certain issues with them. But overall, it was good. I love seeing other characters that were like brought back into the story. I also love Toph, and like overall, I can't nitpick too much, even though some things I'm just like, you know what, just not happening. I also do love how it's intertwining with Legend of Korra, and how it's giving you how was it that Legend of Korra came to be. So that's something that I have to admit that I enjoy, because it tells you that it just didn't come out of nowhere. We're getting the build up to that. So that's something that I really did enjoy, and I gave these 4 out of 5 stars overall. The next book that I decided to pick up was for the Tome Topple readathon, and it's one that I really freaking enjoyed, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I thought that the story was gripping. It was immersive. I just loved everything, the world building, especially when referred to the religion and also the gods and goddesses, and also the animals and the characters. I thought that for a debut author, Tomi Adeyemi did a great and just marvelous job. Like, I can't applaud too much this book because it's just such an amazing read. And also, like I said, you root for these characters. There were moments that I was just sad because I was just like, no, don't do that to her. And I had to put the book down during a specific scene because it just made me sob. And we have how the oppressed are trying to stand up. We have important topics and issues that are being discussed within this fantasy, and I just love that about it. I also enjoyed how we have this West African vibe to it, and also Yoruba that's being used within the story. Fortunately, I wish there was a glossary because there were some words that I really wanted to know like a little bit of explanation to, but throughout the description I did get some others I was just like, what is this? I want to know like a little bit more details about it. So I wish they would have had a glossary just to immerse myself more into that, because I love world building. Like, I don't care if you dedicate 50 pages to world building. I live for it because I want to know about your world. I want to be immersed within it. And also the characters. Oh my god, I freaking love the characters. Here we have Zili, who's a diviner who's sent on a journey, and we have Amari, who's a rogue princess, and she has such incredible character development that I just rooted for her so much. Like, everybody loves Zili. I love Zili, don't get me wrong, but Amari is my girl. I just loved her so much. We also have Inan, and Inan is also a prince, but he's questioning a lot of things that are happening to him, and we get these 3 different perspectives that are happening throughout the entire series. I did love the brother-sister relationship between Zili, and I don't know if you pronounce it Zane, because I do know that it's T'Challa, but you have that, apostrophe. I don't know if it's Zane. There's no apostrophe there, so I really don't know how to pronounce his name. But overall, like, I love these characters and I wanted to root for them. There's one romance that I rooted for because it feels like it's going to be a slow burning romance, and that's something that I live for. There's another romance that I could have cared less about because I cannot stress how bad these 2 characters are for one another, because he did so many things that are damaging to her life that I was just like, no, these 2 are not good for one another. But I just hope they go through the other route, because I can't with these 2. I don't root for them at all. But I love this story, and I loved, like, in the beginning it's really immersive. You just can't turn the pages fast enough. In the middle it does slow down, but we get to know these characters a lot more. And then the ending, oh my god, it's just, the pace is incredible. It's so heartbreaking. There are things that are happening that you're like, wait, can you slow down? I need to know a little bit more details. But overall, it was just an immersive reading experience, and I just loved it, and it gripped me from beginning to end. It was just such an amazing book that I can't praise it enough. I gave, like I said, 5 out of 5 stars because it was just that good. I do have to nitpick on certain things, but just, I don't think those are enough for me to like actually take 0.5 star rating out of it. I don't know. But those are things that I really didn't root for. And also, like, especially in the ending, I would have wished that we had like a little bit more explanation about something that happened. I can't wait for the second book because it does end on a cliffhanger. Like, we want to know, like, what the hell just happened here? You know, that's the feeling that I get. But oh my god, this was so good. But the next 3 books that I'm going to be speaking about are set in a quartet. I decided to reread every single one of them through audiobook, and I heard these audiobooks at 1.5 speed, so that's how immersive I was within these stories. But I just really wanted to get them out of the way because I wanted to remember some of the things that I had forgotten about, and I'm so freaking glad that I decided to do that, because if not, I would have been lost reading the 3rd book. So I decided to reread or hear through audio format An Ember in the Ashes by Sabatsa here. I love this book. I always did love it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I continue to give it 5 out of 5 stars. The audiobook had dual perspectives. We have 2 different narrators, and I just love their intonations, and it was just like, it was perfect. Like, I can't say anything else. It was perfect. But I love Laya since the beginning. She was just such a great character. I love that, you know, she doubted herself at times. She wanted to risk certain things for her brother because, you know, she wanted to see him and she wanted to save him. And I was like, you know what? I just love this woman. I love everything she's fighting for. And, you know, like I said, surviving somebody, I'm just like, oh, you are my girl, man. You survived that witch of a woman. So, hell yeah, I'm going to root for you. I also forgot how much I loved Elias in this story. Honestly, I forgot about that. And I also forgot how much I really did love Helene, and how I had forgotten about certain things about Helene. And I was like, you know what? I'm glad I actually reread this, because I really was going to be at loss with a lot of things. And I also forgot the magic system, how much is woven into this book. And it's one of the main reasons why I criticized Torch. And I was like, huh, so there is a lot of magic. Like, what the hell happened to me? I don't know. Like, when I read Torch, I didn't reread this one back to back, so I kind of forgot about a lot of things. I also didn't check my notes, but I was just like, wow. I also did like question myself in this one, like, is this character somebody else? But I'm not gonna say. Obviously, I'm going to be very vague, because in the 3rd book it's explained, and I was like, secretly, I like had a doubt if that person was truly who she was or who she used to be, but I was like, I couldn't believe it. And yeah, it happens. Yeah, I'm being very vague, but you know, that's how it is. That's how we roll here, you know. The next book, obviously, like I said, in the same quartet, I decided to pick up A Torch Against the Night by Sabatsa here. With this one, I gave 4 out of 5 stars because it's the same thing. In this one, we have 3 perspectives. We also have 3 different narrators. And it's one thing that I always criticize, and it's Laya here. Because with Elias, she was one person. She was really strong and brave, and she took command. But with Keenan, she was a shell of herself. She would always be like, yeah, okay, whatever you say. Yeah, I know you know better. And I was like, what happened to the strong, brave Leah that we knew? Even though we know that she did doubt herself a lot in the 1st book, she was really strong. And this one, I didn't like, or I didn't appreciate how she would act with one, and how differently she would act with another one. So I was just like, something that I always criticize about it. So yeah, but overall, 4 out of 5 stars. It was a great sequel, not just something that wowed me. And obviously, I decided to pick up A Reaper at the Gates by Sabatsa here again, because I did not want to be spoiled for this book, because I know I was going to get spoiled for it. And I have so many things to say about this book. Every single detail is written down. I just have to sit down and type it up, because I have many things to say. I am like in between. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. There are many things that really did annoy me. Unfortunately, the 3 main characters really did annoy me. And I was just like, there's some aspects about them that they were doing that I was just like, wow, I can't with you. Like, I can't with you, honestly. I'm not going to tell you because of details or about spoilers, but, you know, it is what it is. And I also thought that one of the major characters, that's the reason that Laya goes on this adventure in this book, it's like he was brushed off. It's like, you know, we'll take him, we'll sweep him under the rug, we'll give him bits and pieces, but that's it. That's all we're going to do. And I was just like, you know what? I wanted more from this character, especially when Sabah mentioned that there was going to be another point of view. I was like, are we going to get his point of view? Because I wanted to be immersed within this character's world. Like, he went through a lot of shit. I want to know how is it that he feels now, instead of seeing it through Laya's point of view. I also thought that Laya was really reckless. She said some hurtful things to her brother, and I can't, like, agree with her. Because, like, I know, yeah, probably you're right, but, like, damn. Regardless of these things or these situations were going to happen. Helene, I wanted her to be 10 paces ahead of the commandant. And I was just like, that's all I'm going to say. Elias, even though I loved many things that he stood up for and many things that he did, I just wish that he would, like, accept the role that he claimed in A Torch. Like, you know this was going to happen. Stop making a mess of it. Those were the things that I really did, like, I was just like, whatever. Also, I could have cared less about the romance. Like, just take it out. I didn't care for it. And I'm glad that I listened to this on audiobook at 1.5 speed, because I kid you not, I would have DNF'd this book. And that's sad to say, because I really enjoyed the first one. I was okay about the second one. And this one, like, we waited so much and it was just like, it was okay. It wasn't great. It didn't wow me too much. But I am going to continue because I want to know what happens to these characters and that ending. Like, that ending, the ending alone is just marvelous. There are so many things that are happening, so many things that are just like making you just make your jaw drop. That's how much, like, I couldn't even speak right there. But I also did love the prophecy and like trying to figure out the clues, like who goes what, who goes where. Those are things that I really did enjoy. But like overall, I was okay with it. I just wasn't really wowed by it, you know. So that's what it is. I don't know if I'm going to give it a 4 or if I'm going to bump it down to a 3-star rating. I don't know, because like I have many issues with it. But you know, I'll decide once I sit down and like actually do like a real written review about it. And the final book that I read for the month of July was Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought that Eliza was such a beautiful character that I really connected with on such an emotional level. I just loved her so much. She was so sweet. And I also loved the other side character as her love interest. He was just so cute. I also loved the webcomic and how throughout the story we get like paintings of the webcomic, so it can like immerse you within that world, because the webcomic is something that's really popular for her and she's really known on the web for it. And like when these secrets get out, I was just like, I do have to admit that I loved her siblings, her brothers, like when they stood up for her. I was just like, even though I love the family dynamics, I thought that they could have handled certain things differently. Also, like, this was something that I was not expecting. Trigger warning for attempted suicide. Honestly, I was not expecting that. It's nearly towards the end. There's a moment only that it happens, but she does think about it. And I'm just like, wow. Because she does have like social anxiety issues, you know, even the people that she has throughout her webcomic or throughout the web that she just calls her friends, she hasn't like physically seen them, you know, and she is a bit of an introvert. So I really did love reading about those aspects, and I also loved her tenacity that she had for this comic book and how she just was really a hard worker, and I just loved everything about it. I have to admit that the boy main character really did annoy me at a certain point, because he was really petty, and everything that was happening to Eliza, it's like now he was taking himself to be the victim. I'm like, you're not the victim here, man. You're not the victim. What the hell is happening? But then he redeemed himself, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna applaud you. You have my vote of confidence now. But it was just such a beautiful story. I read this in a day. Like, in a day. I loved it so freaking much. It was just such a beautiful read, and I just pick it up because it's really good, and hopefully you're gonna love it. It was just that immersive. These characters are so sweet, and it's just like you can't help but connect with them, and it's like they pop off out of the page. That's how I felt with them, you know. I just love them, all of them. It was just so beautiful, and it made me laugh like so much. But those are all the books that I read for the month of July. If I have to pick one that I really did enjoy, I can't pick one. I have to pick 2. It would be Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and obviously Eliza and Her Monsters. I really did enjoy this one. But that's it for my video. I want to thank you for watching. If you want to tell me which was your favorite read, then feel free. We'll chit chat down below. But until next time.